Good morning, cadets. In the last lecture, we have discussed about a numerical problem regarding a projectile being projected from one planet to another planet. Okay. Now, today we will discuss very interesting topic, that is Earth's satellites. Okay. The objects which revolve around the Earth are termed as Earth's satellites. The objects which can revolve around the Earth are termed as Earth's satellites. Moon is the only natural satellite which revolves around our Earth. Moon is the only natural satellite. Natural satellite. Which revolves around our Earth. Its time period of revolution around the Earth is 27.3 days. Approximately 27.3 days. Time taken by the Moon to complete one revolution. To complete one revolution around Earth. This is what we call as time period T. T of Moon around Earth is equal to 27.3 days. Which is also equal to time taken by the Moon to rotate around its own axis. This is also equal to time taken by the Moon to spin around its own axis. That's what we call as to rotate. To rotate around its own axis. That's why we see only one face of the Moon all the times. The time period of revolution of Moon around the Earth is 27.3 days. We can take approximately 28 days. Whereas time taken by the Moon to rotate around its own axis is also same, 27.3 days. Therefore, whenever we see the Moon surface at various phases, we will be able to see only one phase. This is the reason. So, Moon is the only natural satellite. Since 1957, due to the advance of modern technology, the new satellites were being launched around the Earth by various countries since 1957. The main practical use of these artificial satellites are in the field of geophysics, meteorology and telecommunication. So they play a very vital role in all these fields of meteorology, geophysics and telecommunication. We'll learn about the uses of these artificial satellites later. There are two types of artificial satellites again, geostationary satellites and polar satellites. When we discuss about geostationary satellites and polar satellites, there we will discuss separately the uses of artificial satellites. Moon is the only natural satellite, and artificial satellites, as you know, are the satellites which are man-made for the various purposes like geophysics, meteorology and telecommunication and so on. Okay. Now, Moon revolves around the Earth in almost a circular orbit. We will come to know that these artificial satellites which revolve around Earth are just similar to the planets which revolve around the Sun. So, the Kepler's laws of planetary motion are even applicable for the satellite motion around the Earth. Not only around our own Earth, the various planets, they have got their own natural satellites. So, whatever the Kepler's laws of planetary motions are there for the planetary motion around the Sun, same laws are applicable even for the satellites revolving around the planet. So, satellites are the objects which revolve around the planet. Now, in particular, we are learning about Earth satellites. Okay. So, let us first learn that a satellite is revolving around the Earth in almost a circular orbit. Consider that this is the Earth of radius RE, and suppose this is the circular orbit of a satellite. Consider this is a circular orbit of a satellite revolving around the Earth. This is satellite of mass m. Consider that this is revolving around the Earth in this anti-clockwise sense. And let us take this height of the satellite from the surface of the Earth to be h. So, the distance of this satellite from the center of the Earth is definitely RE plus h. RE plus h. So, when it is revolving around this Earth, this is our Earth, and this is Earth's satellite. One example. Okay. When the satellite revolves around the Earth, there must be centripetal force acting on this satellite. That centripetal force must be acting towards the center of Earth. So, for a satellite of mass m revolving around Earth, the centripetal force there must be centripetal force, then only an object can revolve around a particular center. So, centripetal force acting on this satellite is given by Fc is equal to, from our previous knowledge, mv square by the radius. The radius is from the center, so it becomes Re plus h. Re plus h, where Re plus h is the orbital radius of the satellite, and v is the orbital speed. And what is v? V is the orbital speed, the speed with which the satellite revolves around the Earth is called as orbital speed. So, if you draw just a tangential direction, this gives you direction of orbital velocity. The speed with which a satellite revolves around the Earth is called orbital speed. You can say orbital velocity is the velocity with which, it's a linear velocity with which a satellite revolves around the Earth. Okay. Now we are going to find out equation for orbital speed. So what we are going to discuss now is to find the equation for orbital speed. So you can call this equation as equation number 1 for centripetal force. This centripetal force is provided by gravitational force. This centripetal force is provided by gravitational force acting on the satellite. Acting on the satellite by the center of the earth, center to center force. So I write the equation for gravitational force. So gravitational force between satellite and the earth of mass me is given by G M upon square of the distance from the center of earth to the mass RE plus H whole square, where RE is the radius of earth. So this you can call it as equation number 2. Since centripetal force is provided by gravitational force, therefore these equations must be equal. These forces must be equal. Here, equating equation 2 with equation 3, we get the relation for orbital speed v, that is Fc equal to gravitational force F. Fc equal to gravitational force F implies see Fc is mv square by Re plus H, that's equal to Gmem upon Re plus H whole square. Gmem upon Re plus H whole square. So this cancels with this. Re plus H, one term cancels with Re plus H, and mass of the satellite also doesn't play any role. Mass of the satellite also cancels on both sides. Therefore, V square is equal to Gme upon Re plus H. Gme upon Re plus H. That becomes V square. So we want V. So taking square root on both sides, that gives us, this implies, taking square root on both sides, we get square root of Gme upon Re plus H. So this can be further written in terms of the acceleration due to gravity as we had done earlier. Gme upon Re plus H under root. So multiplying and dividing by Re plus H, we get Gme upon Re plus H whole square as acceleration due to gravity at this height h. So that gives us Gh into the actual orbital radius Re plus H. That's what I am going to write there. So we can call this equation number 3. So using this mass of the earth and the orbital radius Re plus H gravitational constant, we can get the relation, that is orbital speed of a satellite. So very interesting thing here is orbital speed of a satellite does not depend on mass of the satellite, just like we have studied escape speed of a satellite. Escape speed of a satellite also does not depend on mass of the projectile. Orbital speed also does not depend on mass of the satellite. It is independent of mass of the satellite. Okay. Now, if we consider those satellites which are close to the surface of Earth, for satellites revolving close to the surface of Earth, especially these satellites are called polar satellites. Polar satellites are the artificial satellites which revolve around our polar axis, about north-south axis of our Earth, very close. So if we neglect the height h compared to radius of Earth is hardly radius of Earth is 6,400 km, and height of these satellites will be very less compared to 6,400 km. So for such satellites, if we neglect h for satellites revolving close to surface of Earth, if h is taken almost 0, if h is taken 0, Then we get equation number 3 now becomes square root of GME upon RE plus H. RE plus H becomes RE. So multiplying and dividing by RE under root. Under root itself. Multiplying and dividing by RE under root. So GME upon RE square. So this becomes GME upon RE square. We know this. This is acceleration due to gravity, small g, and this is multiplied by RE. So thus orbital speed of a close by satellite close to Earth is given by V. You can write it as V naught. V naught in order to write for those satellites close to the surface of Earth, we have taken H equal to 0. So we will take this one as V naught. V naught equal to square root of G small g into RE. So this becomes interesting result. G into RE. So G is 9.8 and RE is 6,400 kilometer converted into meter. So 9.8 into 6,400 can be written as 6.4 into 10 raised to 6 meter. 6.4 into 10 raised to 6 meter. Take the product and take the square root of that, then you will get orbital speed of satellites which are very close to the surface of the Earth. So this gives us another equation. This we can write as equation number 4. So this implies orbital speed does not depend on the mass of satellite, mass of the object which is revolving around the Earth. This is very interesting result. Now once we get the orbital speed, now we can calculate what is its time period. See, I will draw it once again. If this is the Earth and if this is the, okay, I will draw a satellite revolving around the Earth. Okay. At height h, and this is radius RE. Then if this is a satellite of mass m, this is a Earth of mass me, right? We can calculate what is the time required for a satellite to revolve around the Earth. Time required for one complete revolution around the Earth. That's what we call as time period of revolution. Time period of revolution of a satellite around the Earth. So until now what we discussed was discussion of finding the orbital speed. Orbital speed. Now we will discuss about finding time period. Time period of revolution. So you know that for one complete revolution, the orbital speed is v or v naught. We can take it as, let us say, v. Orbital speed is v. Then for one complete revolution, when it is undergoing circular motion, the total distance covered will be 2 pi into RE plus h, where 2 pi RE plus h is the circumference of this, orbit, the circumference of this circular orbit. So it takes 2 pi RE plus h total distance, and we know orbital velocity as v naught. So with the help of this v naught, we can calculate what is time period. So we know that v naught now can be written as v naught equal to total circumference, total distance, divided by time period. Time period means time taken for one complete revolution. So this becomes 2 pi RE plus H. 2 pi RE plus H whole divided by time taken is T naught. So using this equation, I can find out what is T naught, where T naught is time taken. It is called time period. Time taken for one complete revolution. That is what we call as time period. Time period. Okay. Now we can find out what is the value of time period by substituting the value of V naught. V naught from this earlier equation number 3. We will get the exact value of time period. Okay. Here, instead of V naught, we will take this one as in general orbital speed V. In general orbital speed V, so that time period of revolution for any orbit, any satellite at height h, let us write it as capital T, where capital T is the time taken for one complete revolution around the Earth at height h. Okay. Later on we will find out T naught as well as V naught. Okay. V is equal to 2 pi RE plus H upon T. This is also evident from equation number 3. Can see here. So this equation we are going to substitute. Once we substitute this value of equation number 3 in this equation of velocity, we get the equation for time period 3. So we can write this equation number as 5. So substituting equation number 3 in equation number 5, what do we get? Let us see. Substituting value of V in equation number 5, we have equation number 5 as V equal to 2 pi RE plus H. So I will write it first for T, time period, because we want to find out time period. Time period is therefore equal to 2 pi into RE plus H divided by V. This V will substitute from equation number 3. So if you substitute this, we get 2 pi RE plus H divided by V. V is square root of GME upon RE plus H. So entire thing is under root. So you can write it as raised to half under root. Now this denominator of denominator goes to the numerator. Therefore I can write it. T is equal to 2 pi RE plus H raised to 1 plus half. It becomes RE plus H raised to 3 by 2 whole divided by square root of GME, square root of GME, or you can write GME raised to half. Okay. Now if you square it on both sides, squaring on both sides, squaring on both sides, we get T square is equal to, we get T square is equal to 4 pi square upon square of GME, square root of GME whole square of that becomes GME itself. GME and square of this, square of this 2 cancels, so you are left with RE plus H whole cube, RE plus H whole cube. So this implies T square is equal to, right? One constant, you see 4 pi square upon GME is constant for all the satellites which are revolving around the Earth, where V is the mass of the Earth. So for those satellites which are revolving around the Earth, then square of time period is equal to 4 pi square upon t 4 pi square upon g m e into r e plus h whole cube. So this 4 pi square upon g m e remains constant. So if I take as constant k, then you are left with r e plus h whole cube. So this is Kepler's third law. This itself is Kepler's third law for satellites. Or Earth satellites. Third law for satellite moving around Earth. What does it say? Square of time period. Square of time period is directly proportional to cube of the orbital radius. Cube of the orbital radius. Which is also true for any planet revolving around the sun. For a planet revolving around the sun, square of time period of revolution of planet revolving around the sun is directly proportional to cube of the orbital radius of that planet revolving around the sun. This is called Kepler's third law. Okay, so this relates the time period with orbital radius. Okay, now here k is constant, where we have written k is equal to 4 pi square upon GME. This is a constant which remains constant for all the satellites revolving around the Earth. Okay. Now, if you take square root of this, we get the time period. Now, this is for obtaining the Kepler's third law using the equation for orbital velocity or orbital speed. Using this, we obtain Kepler's third law, which is also true for satellites. Now, for those satellites which are close to the surface of Earth, the h is taken to be 0. Now, for satellites close to Earth's surface, h is taken 0. When h is taken 0, then if you substitute h equal to 0 in this, we get t square is equal to k square into bracket re whole cube. Re whole cube. Right? Re whole cube. Now take the square root. Taking square root on both sides, that implies t is equal to k times re raised to 3 by 2. K times re raised to 3 by 2. Now substitute the value of k. What is k? Here, therefore, k is equal to k square is here. I have written this should be as k square, right? So this should be taken as k square, right? Take it as k square. Where k square is equal to 4 pi square upon GME. K square is equal to 4 pi square upon GME. That implies k is equal to 2 pi upon square root of GME. Okay, 2 pi upon square root of GME. So I can substitute this root value of this one. Root of k square becomes k, so that becomes 2 pi upon square root of GME re raised to 3 by 2. Re raised to 3 by 2. Now, 1 re square, if we take down, you are left here with re raised to half. So if you take RE square in the square root, then you are going to get square root of G in the denominator. So rewriting this, we get T is equal to 2 pi square root of, you can write this as RE square plus half, right? So RE square plus half means I can take this RE square under this. So this becomes under root. So that's how we get interesting result, that is square root of G in the denominator. See, we know that this is square root of G. So if you take this square root of RE square to the numerator, then it becomes RE. RE into RE raised to half becomes RE raised to 3 by 2. So this I can write it as 2 pi square root of RE by G, where G is this value, right? So that's how we get the relation for time period of revolution of a satellite which is revolving very close to the surface of Earth. Now if we substitute the value of radius of Earth and acceleration due to gravity, we get the time period in seconds. So this is the calculated in seconds. Okay. So remember, for those satellites which are revolving very close to the surface of Earth, we get the time period of revolution is fixed. It is 2 pi square root of RE plus H. 2 pi square root of RE divided by small g, where g is GME upon RE square. Okay. Now we will calculate that. Thus, you can see for those satellites which are revolving around the Earth very close to its surface, which we are terming them as the polar satellites, the time period of revolution is fixed, 2 into pi square root of 6,400 kilometer divided by 9.8. If you calculate this, it comes out to be hardly 85 minutes. Hardly 1.5 hours. So this is the time period of revolution of the satellites which are very close to the surface of the Earth. We will continue this in the next period and we will discuss about the energy of satellites in the next lesson. Okay, thank you. Have a nice day.